In this video, we're going to be building a recipe chatbot. It will be able to answer you questions about your favorite recipes. It will be able to generate you some of your favorite Pakistani cuisines and stuff. And then it would be able to store those recipes in the Supabase database in form of embeddings. After that, you'll also be able to search through your database of your favorite recipes that would be stored in there, and we're going to be also using Langchain and OpenAI for this. So if you guys don't know about Langchain is a powerful AI powered Langchain is a powerful tool. It provides a set of tools and abstractions that make it easy to develop applications that like use AI to generate text, translate languages, and perform other tasks. Where Supabase is an open source backend is a service platform that provides a set of backend services including database authentication, storage, and real-time functionality. And moreover, since the last few months, Supabase has been like allowing a lot of different stuff so that we'll be able to make AI powered applications. And it also supports Langchain and OpenAI as well, so it's like a pretty good so it's like a pretty great database if you want to like make AI powered applications. They are a type of database that stores data in the form of vectors. And what are vectors? They are like mathematical representations of data that can be used to represent like a wide variety of things such as text, images, or audio. So basically, why do we use vector databases? That's because they are like optimized for similarity search. This means that they can quickly and efficiently find the most similar item in a database to a given item. This makes it like pretty ideal for machine learning tasks such as recommendation systems, classification, and clustering. For example, like we have a vector database and we could use it to store vector embeddings of recipes. This would like allow us to efficiently find recipes that are similar to a given recipe, or we can like recommend recipes, or we could also like search through what we want, or like what search through recipe on the basis of their ingredients as well. So they are like a powerful tool that can be used to implement a wide variety of machine learning applications. And if you're working with high dimensional data, or if you need to perform similarity search tasks, then I think you should consider using a vector database. In this video, the database that we are going to be using is Supabase, and this is also a vector database. As you can see from here, this is a Postgres vector database, and it also has a full AI toolkit, and this would allow us to make AI applications pretty efficiently. So we're going to be using this one. Before moving on to the actual project, let's first take a look at how exactly do embeddings look. So over here, I have written the embedding for bird, for dog, and for cat. These are like stored in form of vectors like this in as a mathematical representation in the inside the database. So for example, we like query the database for information about cats. Since our database uses semantic similarity search to like get information, to like get the related information, as there are no records for cats specifically, as our database only contains information about dogs and birds. So the database understands that cats and dogs share semantic similarities as like domestic animals. Over here you can also see that the similarity between cat and dog is 0.94. So what the database will do is that since it did not find any information related to cat, based on that the similarity score that it calculated, it will like return us the information related to dogs because they are the most semantically similar to cats. Okay, so we're gonna start with setting up our Supabase. So over here, since I've already logged in, I have the option of dashboard. So I'll just go over to dashboard, and then we'll just click on create new project. I'll just name this as chatbot version 2. For the password, I'll have it generated, and let's just leave everything as default, but you can choose the region that is closest to where you live. Now let's click on create new project. It's going to take a few seconds to complete. So since we also need OpenAI's API key, let's just go over to their website. You have to log in, and since I'm already logged in, I got straight to this screen. So you have to select API, and then go over here. You have to view API keys, and then you have to create a new API key. I'll just name it as my chatbot version 2. and have this API key created. You can only, I think, copy it once. So just come over here. I've already named these variables over here. We're gonna set all of these three in the .env file. So make sure that you have all the keys saved over here. Since we have already got this is done. We'll just close this and let's head over to Supabase. So looks like our project has been generated. We're gonna copy our project URL and then paste it over here. And now we're gonna copy our project's API key and let's just paste it over here. And there we go. We have saved our keys. Now what we're gonna do is that we're gonna go to the SQL editor. We're gonna create an extension vector. Since this we're gonna be using this as a vector database, create extension vector, and then we're gonna run this. Since we have success no rows returned, so our setup has been completed. And now what we're gonna do is that we're gonna head over to this documentation of Langchain. This since we're gonna be working with Python, so we have like already headed over to the Python's database. So over here we have it. We can see these vector stores, all of the vector stores available. We're gonna select Supabase. I'll leave this link in the description below so that you guys can also access it easily. What we're gonna do is that we're gonna come over here and we're gonna copy this stuff. Now just copy it and let's just paste it over here. So what is actually happening is that this is creating a table. Rather than just like writing all the stuff, it's better to just copy and paste it in order to save your time. So we're going to be creating a table, namely documents. This table would have these columns: a primary key, a UUID primary key, a content column, a metadata column. All of our stuff will actually be stored in the content column, the data that we give to the database. And the metadata will have like the data of like from where did you like send the data to the database. And then we have the embedding column. The embedding column over here has this size of 1536. This is like the general size for OpenAI embeddings. You can change it if you need accordingly. So over here we have this function of match documents. Like this is the main function that is gonna do all our work for us. What we're gonna be doing is that, as I've already said before, we're gonna store the data in the database, and then we're gonna be like searching through the database via the embeddings and via the embeddings stuff. So this function will help us to match the documents. Over here, this is the QE embedding vector, the filter. And then what we're gonna do is that the table is gonna return these things. Over here we can see that select is like gonna select all of these, and then it's gonna compare, and then it's gonna like calculate a score for like each embedding. We're gonna have a certain similarity score of or query against or query. If like the similarity score is the greatest out of all of them, then the embedding with the greatest similarity score will be returned to us. And like that is mainly what this function over here does. So we have already set this up. I think I did that or not. So success no rows returned. Let's go to table editor to see if everything was a success or not. So here is our table, or namely documents. Let's see. Okay, so here we have it: the column, content, metadata, and embedding. Our stuff at Supabase is done. So we're gonna like now set up our main project. Since we're done with the Superbase setup, now let's create this folder inside your VS Code. I created the folder, namely Chatbot, and we're gonna work inside this folder. So first, before doing anything else, let's just set up our environment variables. And I made this .env file. Now go over to the place where you have like copied your environment, copied the variables that I've shown you before, and over here I have like added this stuff. Now just save this. And I'm gonna be working inside a Jupyter notebook for like, it's way better than other things. So I've created a Jupyter notebook, namely Chatbot. So first of all, what you guys need are like some stuff that you have to like get installed. Now these are the things that you have to install. Over here, first of all, we have the python.env. It will like help us install the envs, environment variables inside this. And then we have like OpenAI. We have to install this package as well, so that we can like use OpenAI's API and stuff. Then we have Langchain, and we have Supabase to like interact with our database. And then we have is tick token. Generally, we have like a limited number of tokens. So before going over to the database, it like counts the token by itself. So we're gonna be using the tick token. Since I've already have these installed, so I don't need to install these again, but I'll leave the link to my Jupyter notebook inside the description, so that you guys can like just copy and paste this, remove the comments, and run this one. And then let's add another over here. And we're gonna be like needing some important imports at the start, which are gonna be these. First of all, we're gonna be importing OS, and then we're gonna be importing OpenAI, datetime, and then Supabase client. From Supabase client, we're gonna be importing client and the create client one, so that we can like, create a client that will allow us to communicate with Supabase. Now let's run this, and it might take a few seconds to run this, but let's just go over through it. And now what we're gonna be doing is that we'll be setting up our .envs. And from this code, you can easily like import the envs over here. Just run this, and there we have it. Our envs are set up. Now we're gonna be like setting up our Supabase client. So let's just do this. First of all, we have like the OpenAI API. We need to like import this over here. So I've imported it as OpenAI API key, and then we have the Supabase URL, and then over here we have the Supabase key. And let's just run this as well. Next, what we're gonna do is like it's like, I guess, totally up to you guys to do it or not, but I'd prefer that you do it. For this code, what this does is that it like setups like it like tells you what the model name that you are gonna be using now. It like tells you the current model name that is available, so that you guys stay up to date. Because some things happen that if like you are using another model, and then currently the another a different model is available, so like there might be configuration issues. So to like debug it or something like that, we have to like get the name of the current model that we're using. We're like using GPT 3.5 turbo, so that would be it. And then we're gonna create the Supabase client. What we're gonna do is that we're gonna like Supabase over here, and then client. And then for in the create client function, we're gonna be passing the two and we're gonna be passing two variables, that is Supabase URL and Supabase key. Over here we have imported these from the .env file. So let's just run this. Now moving forward, we will need to like import two more things, which are gonna be from Langchain. All of this stuff is like important for what we're gonna do below. So we're gonna be like importing chat open AI, and then we're gonna be importing human message and system message. For chat open AI, we're gonna be like using this in order to like in order to like get access to the chat OpenAI's chat model. And over here, human message and system message. Now, this might be something that you guys have heard for the first time if you're not like familiar with LangChain, or if you're not familiar with like creating such chatbots. So the system message is like something that you tell the chatbot, and like you tell like you predefine the role of a certain chatbot. System message is that, and the human message is what we like say to the chatbot. What we say to the chatbot about what we want, or what we want the answer of. And then we're gonna like create an instance, and then we're gonna like create a model instance of chat. Over here it is accessing chat open AI. And then we're going to initialize a temperature of 0. So what this means is that we want the model to be deterministic. We do not want it to be like creative. We want it to like give us firm answers about like what we want. And then it's over here accessing the open AI's API. And then we're gonna have a instead of like having instead of having a certain like output, like hard coded input of human message. So I've added an input over here, like about what do you want for a recipe, what do you want a recipe for. So I'll just say that I want a recipe for biryani. So over next, we're gonna be adding the main stuff. The main stuff is that we're gonna set up the messages, and then we're gonna give a system message. The content is that you are a head chef at an Asian cuisine restaurant specializing in Pakistani food. So I've told the chatbot that he specializes in Pakistani food and he excels at making delicious dishes like biryani, kadhai, and kebab. So the chatbot should be able to like answer anything related to cooking. And there over here we have it, the human message. The content over here would be the human message variable that we have already given this. And there we have it, the recipe answer. It would be the response given by the chatbot. And let's print it and see what it gives us. It might take a few seconds or more, like almost to a minute, I guess, but it won't be like taking more than that. So let's just wait for it till it like goes on. And let's see what our answer is. Okay, it's still taking a lot of time, so let's just wait for it. So, as you can see over here, we have the whole recipe of biryani. The chatbot gave it all, and it also listed the ingredients separately, and it also gave us the whole recipe of this dish. So, I guess our chatbot is working just fine. Now, next, what we're gonna do is that we're gonna create a temporary file. We're gonna be creating a temporary file so that we can store this answer over there. We have done is that we're gonna be creating a file name that would be recipe answer.txt. In that txt file, this recipe will be stored like temporarily, so that we can, after that we can like go over and store the text from this recipe answer.txt into our Supabase. Over here you can see the whole recipe has been saved. Okay, let's get back to our model over here. Now what we're gonna do is that we need a few more imports. It's like a good practice to have all of the imports of your project at the top. Let's just run this. Let me tell you what these are. First of all, we have the OpenAI embeddings from Langchain, and then we have the Supabase vector store, so that like we can save all of our like stuff into the vector store. Then we have the character text splitter. First of all, we're gonna split this all, and then we're gonna be storing this over there. And then after splitting, we're gonna be creating embeddings, and then we're gonna store that. And over here, we have the text loader. This text loader will allow us to load this file over here. So let's get started with that work. First of all, we're gonna be loading our document, and this is an empty markdown cell. Let's put a code cell, and then let me paste this over here. And over here we have it, the loader. First of all, we're gonna instantiate the loader, and then we're gonna take the text loader, and inside this we're gonna have the recipe answer.txt. Okay, let me check if it's working or not. Yes, it's working. Let's just save it side by side. And what we're gonna do is that we're gonna split this text. We're gonna use the chunk size of 100. You guys can like do it accordingly to your text size or whatever. This can increase or this can decrease. It's all up to you. Let's do this. This is a success. Now we're gonna instantiate the OpenAI embeddings, and we're done with that. Now we're gonna have the Supabase vector store. We're gonna define a vector store over here. We're gonna use the vector store of Supabase, and from documents, this docs over here is from here after the text splitting, and then the embeddings would be created of these docs. The client name is Supabase, and the table name is documents. If you remember, the table that we created had the name of documents, and match documents was the function we defined for the similarity search. Now let's do this. Let's run this code and see if all of our stuff has been like saved in Supabase. So yes, the HTTP request was created, and let's go over to Supabase to see if it's stored or. Okay, let's take a look over here. We have this ID, and then we have all of the content. The whole content is, as you can see, this is the whole recipe. So, or all of the stuff that we did was a success. It has been stored as an embedding. And over here we have the metadata. The metadata is like from where did we get the recipe, from where did we get this whole content. We got this from recipe answer.txt, so it is stored over here, and this is the embedding that was created for all of this content. Okay, before moving on to like similarity search from inside our database, I want to show you guys that I have stored another recipe of kadahi in the database. So what we're gonna do is that I'm gonna give it a query of what is the recipe of biryani, and we're gonna see if it like gives us the correct recipe. And it does not give us the recipe of kadahi. So if we don't get that, we'll be able to be successfully able to chat with our data from inside this database. Now let's check if we are able to like correctly chat with our data from the database. So let me give it a query. Okay. Let me give it a query of tell me the recipe of biryani, and then we're gonna add the function of similarity search, and we're gonna pass the query over here. And what we're gonna do is that we're gonna print the matched content so that we're able to know if the result was correct or not. Okay, so it did give us the recipe of biryani and gave us the whole recipe. And yes, there is no kadahis mentioned over here. So our whole endeavor was pretty successful. And that's it for this project. Hope that you guys liked it and were able to follow along. And if you guys have any suggestions or recommendations for any other things that you want to make and want me to create a tutorial on, so be sure to mention them in the comments. And also all the links that I've talked about in the video, I've added them in the description box, and you will also be able to find the whole code and the GitHub repo of this project in the description. So be sure to check that out as well. So till next time, Allah Hafiz.